There's just a few days now to the start of the Premier League season. My name is Zophar, and this is my draft video for the upcoming 2024 season. In defense, I've gone with a double up of Palace of Henderson and Munoz. The latest news we are hearing from Palace is that Johnston wants to leave, so which means that Henderson should have the jersey to his own. I don't think the Matthews is a direct competition, so we should at least have security of starts for Henderson in the first 6 game weeks. Now, I would highly recommend you guys watch the Defender pod that we did. We talk a lot about the stats for Guardiola and Munoz, why we are so big on them. No defender had more penalty box touches than Guardiola in the second half of the season. I'll present some charts to you further as well to illustrate that. And even with Munoz, now he didn't score a goal, but again, you look at the defense pod, just look at the stats bombs charts that we presented. All the shot attempts, he's had a very close to goal, very high XG chances. And I think he could go big in the first few weeks. You could play him every week also. I think even Chelsea away looks a hard fixture on paper, but we've been so open defensively. It wouldn't surprise me Munoz scores over there. Very attacking at 5.0, probably the best option in that bracket. And I think he's worth the 0.5 over Anderson if you can get there. Now, for the third defender, I've gone for a rotation of Konsa, Robinson, and Howard Bellis, and I'll explain to you how I plan to rotate these guys. Howard Bellis, I wouldn't really be playing much at all. I'm primarily looking to rotate between Konsa and Robinson. The good thing about Konsa is that even with Champions League commitments, he can play across various positions, which is really good for his starting prospects. No defender was fouled more last season in the league, and with now the fouls accruing more BPS, I think he could be a great pick at just 4.5 in a solid Villa defense. Now let's have a look at the midfield. Eze is in there. He's joined up with the Palace team for training this week. I think he's going to be a very big talisman for them in Olise's absence. They've even recruited well to replace Olise with Kamada, so Eze's stock goes up even further, I would say. The only caveat over here that's slightly worrying me is Mateta's late return. He's still at the Olympics at the time of recording this video, so I don't know he will necessarily join up with the squad for game week 1 or ask for a rest, celebrate the Olympic win, etc., if they do go on to win it. And there are some transfer rumors also regarding Eze. Now that City have sold Alvarez, I'm a little bit worried that they might swoop in for Eze. So we have to keep a close eye on transfer news regarding Eze. But I do think he'll stick around because the 60 million fee that they're asking is an upfront fee, and not many teams are willing to pay that with the current PSR rules. Salah, I highly recommend you watch the video that we recorded with Josh from the Distance Covered pod. He explains why he expects Salah to be even better under Slot. I expect Salah to get in much more favorable positions. And again, what he calls Salah is an output merchant, and I would agree with that. Salah evaluates his performances through goals and assists. And in general, I like having the most expensive player in each position. Now, today, if I want to go to a Salah, to a Saka or Palmer once they show some form, it's quite easy. But early on, I'd rather go with the tried and trusted quantity who's had a full preseason behind him. I'm expecting big things from Salah. I probably won't captain him against Ipswich because I'm slightly worried about Liverpool, how they'll start. I think I'd rather go with Haaland over there, but it's very close between Salah and Haaland for captaincy in game week 1. Now, Gordon has also joined up for training with the Newcastle squad. Like Eze, he's missed most of preseason, so there is a slight concern over there that he could miss the game week 1 fixture with Barnes starting on the left and Murphy playing on the right. So again, something I'll be monitoring very closely. But I really like Newcastle's opening fixtures, the first 3 in terms of attack. The first game is Southampton at home, good potential for points. Bournemouth also, I think they're a little bit undercooked at the start of the season. We saw last season also, they started a little bit more slowly and they picked up as the campaign wore on. And they might struggle to replace Solanke, who's such a key player in the way they play. Then you have Tottenham, who Newcastle have absolutely spanked on their last few visits, were not a good defense. So game week 1 is a little bit of a concern for Gordon, but he's such a talisman for them. I just don't see him necessarily sitting out. Maybe reduced minutes are a concern, but if I do need to raise cash, I'll be looking in that position. If there are doubts about his starting role, him or Eze, the transfer news need to be monitored. There's also the Liverpool speculation, of course, with Gordon, but I don't think we've heard anything more substantial on that front yet, but watch this space. Nkunku is a change from my previous draft. I had Gibbs White over there, but Nkunku has looked good in preseason. Chelsea has been a bit weird. I think defensively we have been very open, but every game we have created chances, and Maresca has gone on to say that Nkunku's versatility, his ability to play across various positions, bodes well for his starting prospects. And so I think he's a player that's potentially made for Maresca's system. And I'll talk about his preseason stats in the next slide as well, and why I think he's worth sticking, even despite the difficult game week 1 fixture. At 6.5 is just too good a price to pass up. I think we will eventually want to get him later on. And you really don't want to be using transfers for these sort of players. You'd rather focus on moving the big hitters around this season. Now, the forward line, Haaland will naturally be my captain. You don't need me to tell you why Haaland is a good pick. I think after his hat trick against Chelsea in preseason, he's going to work his way into a lot of squads. And unless he gets injured in the Community Shield, I don't see myself going without Haaland at all. A very known commodity, and I think I would actually captain him in all the first 3 game weeks. That's it. That's what first game week is Chelsea away. We just saw he scored the hat-trick. Ipswich at home, and then West Ham away when Salah has Manchester United. So known quantity, you know what you're getting. Safe as houses. Now Isak is another player who hasn't left any of my drafts. Probably none of yours as well. Somebody I'm planning to hold throughout the season as long as he's fit. And I think House Magpies, with only 1 game a week, are going to be much better this year. Now, Muniz versus Wood is something I am debating, but I really like the look of Fulham's first few fixtures, and the numbers are quite interesting. I won't go into that too much right now, but that's a decision that will likely be left late. As of now, I am siding with Muniz. On the bench, I've gone with Anthony Robinson, who I'll talk about again very soon, Harry Winks, and either Barco or Howard Bellis. I haven't really decided on that. It'll probably be depending on Barco's fitness later on. Now, in Nkunku's numbers, as you can see from this chart over here, Nkunku over the 5 preseason games started, I think all 5 of them. He was subbed off early in the first one, but look at those shot numbers. Every single game, he's either had a big chance involvement or at least some sort of attacking involvement. A lot of either big chance missed, big chance created, big chance scored. A lot of those are obviously penalties, so that would be classified as a big chance. So I do get that, but in general, he looked probably our best player. I think he's just too good to pass up at 6.5. And I think we will create chances. And now, if you look at the season ticker image just below that, this is from Fantasy Football Scout. If you remove the Man City fixture in game week 1, Chelsea actually go up to second for fixture difficulty over the first 6 game weeks. We play Wolves, Palace, Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton, and Forest. So no team from last season's top 6 after game week 1 is out of the way. And if the defense is as leaky as it has looked in preseason, then we're going to have to score a lot of goals to make up for that. And we have been creating chances. That's one thing that's very encouraging, at least under Maresca. So that should be scoring a lot of goals, similar to we did under Pochettino. And I do think this year the goals will be spread out a little bit more. From what I can tell from Maresca early on, he's somebody who values the collective a lot. He's not as much individualistic as Pochettino. So I don't think we'll be depending on Palmer as much. Now, I wanted to talk about Anthony Robinson a little bit and why I think he is potentially the best 4.5 defender in the game. Now, if you look at the numbers here, this is for penalty box touches over the entire season. The names that have done better than him, Tarkowski, Doughty, Van Dijk, Udogi, and Poro, are significantly more expensive. Now, he's even had more penalty box touches than Guardiola. Of course, Guardiola only started or had 28 appearances, so that obviously is not an apple to apple comparison, but he's got 2 assists in his last 2 games, very attacking. The caveat over here, of course, is that Fulham could concede a bit more. They've lost Polinia, they've lost Dawson, but at 4.5, the kind of attacking potential he affords, because he's got goal threat as well as assist potential. Now, you look at his creativity numbers in this slide. In terms of chance creation, he also makes a top 10. And if you look at 4.5 defenders, only Dean has created more chances than him at 37. He's tied with Soufal. He's created 6 big chances. For example, his 33 chances created is just 6 less than Ben White. So I think a rotation is really good. You could even potentially look to perma play him if you're looking to save money, because I don't think Manchester United away is that terrible a fixture. They're struggling a little bit up top there without Hoyland. So I don't know. I think it's going to be Sancho up front. I don't really have very much faith in United's attack. I think Robinson is an absolutely fantastic pick. Now, obviously, now you would like to rotate him a little bit, and I'm just going to talk about how I plan to use him along with Konsa. Now the table at the top shows the rotation. It's now West Ham away for Villa. Game week 2 and 3 is Leicester at home, Ipswich away for Fulham. You could even play Leicester away for Villa that week. I think Leicester are a bit more goal shy than Ipswich are, and Villa are a better defense. And then after that is what gets interesting is they both have home fixtures: Everton at home, Wolves at home. Fulham have West Ham at home, Newcastle at home. And game week 6 is Ipswich away. So here, what I like is that it even gives you additional bench strength. This is going to be right after an international break, which happens in game week 3. We never know. Guardiola could get rotated. Champions League starts. You don't know. So Fulham having a good fixture at this time. Ideally, you say when we talk rotations, you want the fixtures to be dovetailing a little bit. But the fact that they have good fixtures in 4 and 5 is actually encouraging, I think, because in case I need to play Robinson or somebody who gets injured, doesn't start, he's a good pick. Now look at the alternate rotation. Now, if you want a perfect home away rotation with Robinson, Forest offer that. And you could go for a pick like Murillo or Bolly, who also have significant attacking threat. Forest will be playing Bournemouth at home, Wolves at home, and Fulham at home in game week 1, 3, and 6. Whereas Fulham in game week 2 will have Leicester at home, West Ham at home, and Newcastle at home. On the face of it, you could argue that game week 4 and 5 are actually not that great for clean sheet potential for Fulham. You'd expect both West Ham and Newcastle to score, but they were very good at the Cottage last year. And ultimately, you're playing him for the attacking threat. The ceiling is there to get those 9 to 11 points. Now, before we move on to the next section, I also wanted to talk about our partnership with Sleeper. Now, this is a free-to-play game. You just have to predict the results of Premier League every weekend for the 38 game weeks. You can choose to stack them all up. You can choose to do them one at a time as you wish. There's no gambling or Web3 involved. It's completely free to play. You can find the code for our league in the description. We are having a lot of prizes. For the top 2, at the end of the season, we'll be giving away PS5s. And if, like me, you already own a PS5, by that time, the PS5 Pro might be out. So hey, you could probably win that, as well as custom Premier League kits for 3rd to 10th place. Now, addition to this, we'll also be giving the monthly winners a custom Premier League kit. So it's completely free to play. Once again, the link is in the description. And if you're on our Discord, that is on our Patreon or YouTube, then do join it. There's a separate league for that. The top 3 every month are going to win a Premier League kit. So it's an absolute no-brainer. The odds are in your favor. Join away. Completely free to play once again in any country in the world. No gambling involved. Search for Sleeper on the Android or Play Store and click the link in the description below to join our Pick'em League. Let's get now to the comparison of the cheap forwards, Muniz and Wood. Muniz numbers on the left, Woods are on the right. Now this is for the second half of the season, start from game week 20 to 38 when Muniz really came to the fore. XG numbers, you can see Muniz is a little bit better at about 8 XG compared to 7 for Wood. There's no point really looking at the assist numbers over here because it's pretty much, they're not really creative forwards, they're more traditional number 9s. XG non-penalty is similar as well, it's 7.99 to 7.05, so it's not like penalties are distorting or making Wood's data better. But what's interesting is that Muniz, you can see in the XG delta, he slightly overperformed his XG, that is scored more goals than is expected. So was he just on a hot streak or is he a good finisher? We don't really know that since we have a very small sample size of data. So if you're going with Muniz, you're actually expecting him to continue that overperformance. And you can see that from his XG on target as well. XG on target measures shot quality. These were much better place shots than with Wood. Now, looking at the raw goal threat numbers, I think this is quite interesting. Penalty area touches are 95 for Muniz compared to just 59 for Wood. This is a lot to do with the way Forest play, where Wood doesn't really get much touches except the decisive ones in the box. Now, the raw goal threat numbers, Muniz is at 62 shots compared to 30 for Wood, more than double. And these are all attempts in the box, almost 57 shots in the box compared to 26 for Wood. Big discrepancy. Another thing I found interesting was a lot of these attempts for Muniz were headed goal attempts, 22 out of his 62 shots. That's nearly a third. Generally, headed shots have a lower XG. So that's why you can see if these were all shots he had taken with his feet, his XG numbers we saw earlier would be much higher. Now, what is, I think, could be potentially pivotal here. Now look at the big chances. Muniz had only 12 big chances compared to 16 for Wood. generally the more big chances a forward gets, the more goals you expect them to score. Muniz, with 12 big chances, he converted, I would guess, around 7 or 8 of them. No, 9 of them. So that's a very, very high percentage where Wood only converted 7 of his 16. So statistically, if you ask me to predict who would be scoring more goals over here, I think it would be Wood. But there are other factors to consider now. You have Taiwo Avenue, who's nearing fitness. He's not fully fit yet. And I think he will probably be starting games only after the international break. But he is going to eat into Wood's minutes early on. You're going to see Wood getting subbed at 60, 70 minutes odd. And generally, I don't rate Forest as much in attack as I do Fulham. So that's where the discrepancy balances out a little bit. Again, now talk about the fixtures. The first three for Forest are really good. Bournemouth, Southampton, and Wolves. Liverpool away, not so much. Brighton also expect them to be better. Defensively, we need to get out of the mindset of Brighton being a poor defensive team, because this is not De Zerbi anymore. The new manager, Hursler, values a solid defense. And game week 6, obviously, Fulham at home is a good one. Now, Fulham's fixtures, I think, are absolutely fantastic. I don't look at Manchester United as a difficult fixture, especially early doors. You never know what shape they're in. They were the worst defense statistically across Europe from 2024. So there could be chances for Muniz over here. Then you have the two promoted teams, Leicester and Ipswich. Then the two home games after West Ham, Newcastle, and then they go to Forest away now. So the good thing with Muniz is I think he will be firmly first choice. Forest are even linked with a replacement striker, the signing from La Liga. I think his name is Jimenez or Jimenez. I don't remember exactly, but there's more competition definitely for Wood, but I think Muniz is the first choice. We will see the Mexican striker Jimenez subbed on occasion, but in terms of long-term pick and stability in your squad, I think Muniz is the way to go. Now, something I've been thinking about, and I mentioned this earlier, about picking the most expensive player in each position. And if you saw Josh's pod with Late Riser, you know that he's big on Trent. He expects Trent to post great numbers. So I've been seeing what I can do to get him in, upgrade Guardiola, find the 1 million. And I think a switch to 3-5-2 could fund it. Now, what you would essentially be doing is converting Muniz to Smith Rowe, who is now at Fulham, switching it around a bit over there. And I want to talk a little bit about 3-5-2 versus 3-4-3. Now, initially, I was favoring the 3-4-3 primarily because I thought the forwards like Wood and Muniz are more talismanic, but I think the 5.5 midfield bracket is really good this season. You have Minte, Smith Rowe, Kamada, Hudson-Odoi, lots of good picks that are going to emerge later on. It's quite easy to move to even a 6 or 6.5 midfielder in that bracket. But as forwards, apart from Wood and Muniz, who are you going to go to if they don't really work? I don't really like Pedro. I don't really want to go for Armstrong or any of the promoted team strikers. But look at it the other way around. You want to get a third forward, let's say a Watkins or a Havertz. You could easily do that by just downgrading Gordon and upgrading your third forward. So it's just committing to structure a little bit. And I do think we will want Watkins or Havertz around game week 4-5. I think Havertz run starts a little bit later. Watkins runs gets really good from game week 3 on. So, and also you'd also have a little bit less bench depth. You'd be downgrading Konsa to either a Bako or Howard Bellis, so you'd be rolling with two 4.0 defenders, which feels a little bit concerning to me because I don't want to wildcard early. You don't want to be making transfers for your poor 4.5 defender. You want that guy set in stone. This is what that team would look like. Trent, Munoz, and Robinson would pretty much be playing every week. Now, that's what I mentioned about the Robinson perma play over there. Smith Rowe in midfield. You don't really have a playing 4.5 guy. It says Harry Winks over there. I should have really changed it to a 4.5 striker from Leicester, Cannon. But the team feels a little bit more flaky. And I think the sacrifice just to get Trent when his first 3 fixtures are potentially aren't that great. I think Ipswich away, they could concede. Manchester United also, it's a big game for the Red Devils always when they turn up over there. So I don't know if I'll necessarily be going with this, but I do have an easy route now. If I do see what I like, getting to Trent from Guardiola isn't very difficult at all. In general, let me know what you think about 3-5-2 versus 3-4-3, your thoughts regarding that, and how you like this video. Anything else you would like us to cover. We will be back with the forwards pod today, and we will be continuing our regular build-up with Prus the next week. Thanks for watching, and good luck. Like and subscribe.